If you want a bigger bench press with bigger pecs, you need to try doing the tempo pause bench. This is a common variation used by many elite powerlifters, and for good reason. In this video, I'll cover my preferred setups and what the major benefits are, starting with the tempo itself. Truth be told, there's no right or wrong way to program this. Depending who you listen to, the approaches can vary massively. So I really don't want to confuse you, but on the screen I'll put up a small list of tempos for you to try out. The numbers are defined by the time in the eccentric, time pausing in the lengthened position, and time in the concentric. There's also time at the end of the concentric, but I won't include that here. Anyway, don't stress about optimal times. Just experiment and pick one that you'll consistently stick to and honestly track, okay? For me, I found a 3-3-1 tempo or 2-3-1 to be most effective for bench press training. So it's moderately paced, but never with slow concentrics. It's always going to be fast and explosive on the way up, which is specific and causes the highest force production. Therefore, if I did want to grind a bit more through all the joint angles, I'd rather just use accommodating resistance or higher percentages. That said, there is value in slowing down the negative and positive phases. See, by controlling and holding a weight, we significantly reduce the stretch reflex, which forces our chest muscles to work that much harder. So if you use a touch and go or mini pauses, trust me that these hit different. Even with low reps, you'll get a crazy pump and fatigue will set in quickly. So for those with stubborn pecs, this single modification might be the solution. It's quite comparable to what bodybuilders do with calf raises. So why not employ a similar strategy here? At the same time, if you are a believer of time under tension, which I believe is overrated, but I'll mention it regardless, obviously this variation accomplishes that perfectly. Because unlike a dead bench that completely breaks up the lift into two segments, here we're maintaining constant isometric tension in the lengthened position, which is not only the most difficult part of a bench press, but it's also where most of our chest growth occurs. So spending some extra time in there can do wonders for mass. Plus, when you go back to regular benching, it'll be so much easier by comparison since you've enhanced your bottom strength, especially if you compete in powerlifting and don't know how you'll be judged. This is good insurance. Also, this style allows us to get more out of less weight, especially with the feet up on the bench. You'll drop the load by around 20%, and it's really good for those lighter days or if you need another horizontal press. So talk about win-win for powerlifting and bodybuilding. Finally, the tempo pause bench will refine your technique like no other. Through concentration, you'll automatically use the best leverages for your build. This includes the correct arm angle, even lowering of the bar since everything remains tight, where the bar lands on your chest, and of course, doing real pauses as opposed to sinking and heaving. In turn, coordination and skill greatly goes up, which develops a better movement pattern overall. So in the long run, you'll be lifting much more efficiently and reduce your risk of injury. In addition, I'd argue this is the number one way of correcting pressing imbalances, because switching to dumbbells usually won't fix the problem, unless you're exclusively training that one side for some time. The reason is that what got you this imbalance in the first place was improper form on bilateral movements, which has yet to be fixed. So favoring unilateral work is only masking the root cause, and truth be told, you'll probably still be uneven since the body is smart and will find ways to adapt. Therefore, the real long-term solution is addressing the initial exercise that brought you here to begin with. And controlling the barbell bench press with a pause is precisely what'll do it, since every little nuance of the movement is attacked. So work them in at least once a week, and I promise you'll quickly notice the effects. By the way, I suggest staying in the 6-day rep range since the sets are long. So we don't want too much fatigue, and definitely consider filming your sets as well, because this will allow you to see all the details that I discussed today. And with that said, guys, there's not much else for me to say. Hope my explanations were clear. Now I want to know from you, what's your experience been like with the tempo pause bench? Let's hear it, and I'll talk to you all next time.